Evening. I promised I'd make a video on how to cook Granny's greens. So, y'all know Granny didn't cook kale that I know of. She may have, but I couldn't find no collard greens. See, it's New Year's. At the time this video was made, well, you know, people can watch it in the future too. It's just after New Year's, so there wasn't no collard greens, no turnips to be had that I could find. Of course, I don't go crazy and go to 40 different stores anyway. Okay, these will do. I promise you, these are just as good. They taste just as good if you cook them right. Some people won't eat them. I don't understand why. They taste just as good. I like, as a matter of fact, the texture's in between a collard and a turnip, and to me it tastes fine, especially when you cook them in these right here. Now your millennials are going to freak out. These is good. I mean, every part of a pig is good. They used every part of the pig, years ago. The snout, the ears, the feet, all of it. Now these pork neck bones are just as good as ham. Some people like the fat back, but the fat back's got a little bit too much fat, and I like a little bit more meat. But these are just as good. You see got the marbling in there a little bit there, so it's got plenty of fat in there to deliver some taste. So you got to treat yourself every once in a while. Now, I take it some of you millennials love, this type of food. So, so enjoy the video. I'm going to teach you how to do it. Now, so that's a lot of kale there. You can buy yourself 3. They come in 16-ounce bags usually. And usually you can get collards or collards mixed with turnips and mustards, but we'll use that. So you're going to need you a big old stock pot. So you need your big stock pot, and you need a thick bottom on your pot. You don't want no thin little. You want kind of have a little bit of you want a little bit of a thick bottom there. This is a stock pot that a friend of me and my ex-wife's, me and my ex-wife's gave us, Rhonda, years ago. And when we split up, she gave me some of the stuff, and she know I love this stock pot, so she let me have it. Now, I know some of you guys are proponents of fresh, stuff, but if I would have been thinking, I would have picked some up. I would have at least got frozen. But garlic powder and onion powder and his minced onions, that they'll do just fine. It'll still flavor them. They'll flavor up good. So there's your ingredients right there, and I'm going to show you how we're going to fit all these in here. I promise you, they're going to go, and it'll look like it's going to overflow or cook over, and it will a little bit. But it's nothing that you can't clean up though. And so we'll get over here to part 2 here in a minute. Okay, I want to show y'all something real quick. If you ever have problems with your spices, getting solid or whatever, or clumping up, basically. If you got medication and they come with these little packs like this, keep them. Set them aside somewhere, put your little cotton on top of the bottom and preserve them. Whenever you get these dried type of seasonings, you put it inside of it. Put your 1 or 2 of them in there. I usually put 2, and that helps to keep the moisture down. Now, and it keeps it from clumping up on you. Now I'm going to use these minced onions and everything. I'm going to put all that in there. It's about how much I put in there with the onion powder and the garlic. That ain't too much because I'm making a lot of greens. Now I went ahead and I put some of these in here. That's 1 bag. But I promise you they're gonna fit. So what you do is you just mash them. Or if you got a big stock pot, I mean, if you got a big tall stock pot, that's always best. But when you're challenged in size on your stock pot, you got to make do. Put that first bag in there and stick these beautiful neck bones in there. Boy, them are meaty. They ain't got much bone to them, y'all. Oh, these are gonna be nice. Stick these neck bones in there, and oh my goodness, these are gonna be good. My mouth's watering now. And then you put the rest of these greens in here, and I promise you they'll go. You just gotta mash and mash and mash them down, and they're gonna go. They will, don't worry. Oh man knows what he's doing. Just mash them down, mash them down, mash them down. Grab this last one, put it in there, mash it down. Here it's going. May not look like it, but it's going. All right. See? Told you. Told you. All right, now you can put your spices in a little bit later. You know, the first thing you want to do is get them cooked down a little bit, of course. That way you can stir them and love on them while you're cooking them up. The sink is clean, don't worry about it, and plus it's going to be boiling any daggone way. So it's good to have a water filter. Makes the water taste better, although East Milton water here ain't bad. And you go ahead and fill her up. Fill her up with water. You want to fill it up with water about 1.5 inches from the bottom of it, maybe an inch. It might cook over a little bit. And then once you fill it up, you put it on your stove here, and you bring it to a good rolling boil, and let it boil, you know, for I'd say a good 30 minutes, and then cut her down and simmer it. And it's so easy. It's so easy. You know, you want to hard boil it for about 30 minutes, keeping an eye on it, stirring it, all that stuff. A little bit's going to boil over. A little bit, you know, your first, I'd say the first 10 minutes of that hard boil, just stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and stir it, and it'll start to settle down, I promise you. And it ain't going to boil over. Plus you got a lid that you can put on there. You're going to get a little bit of boil over on your stove, but you know, I clean my stove every time I cook a meal. I wipe it down and I get all that grease and nastiness off of it. I can't stand a filthy, greasy stove. So that's what I do, and that's how you do it. And I'll put a during and a results video too. All right. So, like I said, you know, as you're bringing them to the boil, just kind of, you wanted to poke them down in there, and they do cook down a little bit, and before you know it, that's all 3 of them in that, that's all 3 bags of them in there, you know. And you just, every once in a while, you know, as you're bringing it to the boil, you just keep, you know, poking it down, stirring it, you know, and it'll cook down like that. See how nice they lay down? So these neck bones got a pretty good bit of salt in them, and you gotta be careful with salt. You don't want to overdo it. So now, with that chili I made, you know, I put about a palmful in. So, hang on just a second here. My unprofessional video. There, fade to black. Alright, there you go. Now, see, that ain't a big bunch. That's maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons, and you would go, if he was just cooking that without any in there, maybe if you want a hamburger meat or something like that, if you were flavored with hamburger meat, you'd want to put a little bit more. You know, you got to keep in mind that's a big old pot of greens there. I'm gonna give some of them away to brother over next door, mama, Gracie mama, you know. So, and you just stir it. Now I'm about to reduce these down a little bit. I ain't gonna boil them so hard. They've been boiling pretty good here for about 30 minutes or so. So I'm gonna turn my fire down. Now it depends on every stove you got. Now, you know, this is a gas stove. I'm gonna put it down here to about, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna throw it on this back simmer here. I'm gonna put it just on real low. See how low that is? It'll keep your little bit of a bubble going. You know, it'll keep a little bubble on it. And then grab your lid here. Taking you for a trip around my kitchen here. All around the kitchen. Then you want to put it in there like that. Alright. So there you go. And you just leave it there. I'm going to simmer it about another half hour or something like that. Let me center it up on the fire. There we go. Leave it on there about another half hour. And you're going to have yourself some Granny's greens, and I guarantee you they're good. And they will be good. I like to mix greens with I like the kale, mustards, and collards and turnips. I like all 4 of them all in there. But those kale greens are pretty good. And that's how you do it. It's real easy, super easy. Bon appetit.